what should you do to make somebody indeed sleep better in a building like that?
Okay, well, so like it really has to do with...
Does it have to do with the place where you put your bed?
It has to do with that. Like any science, it's very complicated, and there's thousands of different techniques we use, literally thousands of little techniques that cumulatively, they make the building, make you healthier and more prosperous. So I can give small examples, little by little, you know, you will understand what I'm saying. Now, like as I said, there's basically 4 different areas that we use. One is Vastu, which is the science of sacred geometry. And then one is green architecture, one is healthy building, and one is smart building technology. And then I guess you could say a third one is just plain old good architecture, what they call best practice architecture. But to take them one by one of them, you know, each of these contributes. So it's like a table with 4 legs. Each of them do something important. So Vastu is the one that's the hardest to understand.
What really is Vastu?
Okay, Vastu is an ancient design science that really came from India. It's thousands of years old and has been refined by great Sthapatya Vedic architects, Vastu architects, or Sthapatis, they're all the same thing. And they've been refining the science.
Stone buildings?
It could be stone, it could be wood. Actually, Vastu really works, the main technique is geometry, so that the internal dimensions of a building must be the right proportion. So from this wall, from the face of that wall to the face of that wall over there, to the face of this wall and that wall, so the length and the breadth must be a certain ratio and a certain specific dimension. And from the finished floor to the finished ceiling, that creates a cube or a cuboid. And once you can get the exact right proportions, then the energy in that building will be very smooth and very harmonious, and the person who is living in that space will think a little bit more clearly, because the energy in that building will be a little bit smooth, a little bit more, we use the word coherent.
But it will be hard, I guess, for many people to understand and to believe that a building can contain energy.
Yes. Well, when you fully enclose the space, one way of thinking of it is that the building almost gets a life of its own, and the energy begins to flow in a certain pattern. So we use sacred geometry ratios, and these ratios, one of the ways that we make the harmony is we use ratios which are found in nature. So for example, the scales on a lizard are in a very specific sequence that's called the Fibonacci sequence, which is a mathematical sequence. And the flowers grow in using the same natural kind of progression. So now the sunflower seeds will grow in a very specific pattern. When you look at the center of a sunflower, it grows in a very specific mathematical pattern, and the petals grow in a very specific. So there's all of these natural mathematical things that happen like in nature that we duplicate in a building, and when you duplicate it in a very precise way, that building, it gets a very coherent energy. And so when you live in that building that has this coherent energy with ratios and proportions that you find in nature, you just feel better. That's a short story.
I suppose that you're talking about high-rise now.
It can be high-rise or it can be a single house.
But I also suppose that these type of homes, let me take that it's not high-rise, but because we don't have too much experience with high-rise over here. Mm-hmm. But I take it that your way of architecture is plenty more expensive.
No, it doesn't have to be, really, because I think that the building techniques we use are more intelligent. So we use the intelligence of Vastu so that the energy is better for the same cost. the building materials don't make so much difference. When it comes to sacred geometry, the most important thing is the face of that wall and the face of this wall and the cuboid that you enclose, the shape of the building, the energy becomes better. Where you enter the building is also very important. If you enter in the wrong place, it can have bad impacts on the energy in the house. When you enter in the right place, you can have good energy, but it doesn't cost you any more money. So the shape of the house also, there's certain right proportions, and and the other big difference is we just put a sense of order in the house. Now, modern architecture, if you go to your typical draftsman and say, well, I need a bit more space here, he just randomly shifts the wall over 6 inches or 8 inches or 7.5 inches because you need more space. But in Vastu, you can't do that because it's a very precise science. So there's nothing that is imprecise, there's nothing that's random. Everything is a very precise ratio. So we're given a sense of order, but that doesn't really cost any more money.
Okay.
Similarly, with green architecture, if you take this same building and it's shaped like this, and if you face it this way, it's going to be very hot and it's going to collect a lot of heat. You face it this way, the building will be cooler. It didn't cost you a cent. You just had the knowledge to make the right orientation.
Mr. Fojo, is there an address, anything like that, where people can reach you?
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that. Yes, we have a brand new website that we just did. In fact, it was just launched about 2 days ago, and it's called Green Vastu Homes. So it's very easy to remember. It's just 3 words, green, and then the only hard word is Vastu, V-A-S-T-U, homes, H-O-M-E-S. And if you combine those 3 in one word, www.greenvastuhomes.com, and there you will see home plans that you can download, and there's some articles. Now, we just launched the site, so as of this moment, we have 4 houses that are low-cost houses because we wanted to reach the masses first. So we've got these low-cost houses, 4 of them that you can download right now, and you get a full set of working drawings that tell you exactly how to build it so that it's Vastu and it's green and it's healthy and very inexpensive. And there's a very small fee for these homes, and they also have a lot of very good articles about green architecture and about healthy building.
Thank you so much for this information.
You're welcome.
Yes. En hiermee, kijkers en luisteraars, zijn we gekomen aan het eind van Waakhond. Morgen, dat is donderdag, kunt u om 6:15 kijken naar de herhaling. En vrijdag zijn wij dan, als alles volgens plan verloopt, bij u terug met een nieuwe aflevering van Waakhond. Bedankt voor uw attentie. Tot een andere gelegenheid.
Manasari futuro,